laws directly. Despite the gap between us, we have a common point of view, a struggle against the hypocrites and two-faced people such as Yossi Sarid. I prefer to fight with lions and wolves such as the Kach movement rather than with mice and jackals such as Shulamit Aloni and Meir Vilner. He really never heard of Michael, otherwise he would have put him in toots. Now, with this letter, he enclosed a letter that had been published in Maariv by a professor, Shaul Friedler, and his reply to the letter, which was indeed never published. Now, Dr. Friedler's letter had been an angry letter in response to an appearance by Galia Tamam on television. Galia Tamam is the mother of Moshe Tamam, Hashem Yinkom Damo, a soldier who in 1984 was hitching a ride at Somet Betli. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's about 4 miles Netanya. Not exactly Shechem. He was picked up by 4 Arabs riding in a car, Israeli Arabs. So therefore he did not know that they're Arabs because their license plates are the same as the Jews, which is only right. It's democracy. So that soldiers shouldn't know. His body was found 2 months later. He had been hacked to pieces. His mother was on television, and I don't have to tell you what she said about the Arabs. And that disturbed Dr. Friedler from his liberal humanist post high above all other human beings. So he wrote a letter to Maariv, which was published, in which he said, what would Mrs. Tamam or the Jewish community in Israel say if on European or American television they would say concerning Jews what Mrs. Tamam said about Arabs? See? That's the equation. Bitter, sweet, light, darkness. The Germans bombed Coventry, the British bombed Dresden, same thing. What would they say? What would we say if they said about Jews what we say about Arabs? That's the equation. We do exactly for the Arabs what they do to us. Now that was the letter, that was part of the letter written by Friedler, who presumably then went to bed feeling self-righteous and pious. That he had wiped away the racism of a mother who had lost her son with the humanism of a professor. And this is the letter that Muhammad Chada wrote in response to the letter. This is an Arab's reaction to the letter of this liberal Jew. He writes to this Friedman, he says, your problem, and many like you, is that you think that all the Arabs are children to whom you can sell fairy tales. I like this Arab. I'm going to tell you, he is my Arab. Shulamit Aloni, Yossi Sarid, and people like you are sitting on land that belongs to the Arabs and speak lawfully about justice and equality and other such nice phrases that are empty of substance. You presume to present the humane sector that objects to the occupation. Are not Jaffa, Haifa, Akka, Lida, Ramle, the Galilee, and the Negev Arab land that was robbed? So what is this hypocrisy? You, Michael, what is this hypocrisy? I'm infuriated at the comparison between Arabs who live under occupation and Jews who are citizens of Russia and the U.S. The wandering Jew reached Russia, Europe, and America as a guest. The Arab citizens live under the Zionist occupation and did not come to the state as guests. This is their land. We Arabs do not want you either as hosts or defenders. Just get out, leave us alone. That's an Arab. And that's a normal Arab who believes it is his land and who believes that these kinds of people play games with him with contempt. I understand him, and he understands me, and neither of us will ever begin to understand this. Said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again and again. There is a contradiction between Zionism, a Jewish state, on the one hand, and Western democracy on the other. And if people are not happy about it, my job is not to make people happy. It's to make people think and to save Jewish lives. Because more Jews have died throughout history because they do not want to see bitter things than for any other cause. What is Zionism? No, Michael, what is Zionism? Zionism is the movement to establish a Jewish state. And what is a Jewish state, Michael? No? A Jewish state is a state in which we control it, in which we control our destiny, in which we are masters of our fate and captains of our ship, and no one else is. Because for 1900 years, we had no state, and we enjoyed such wonderful benefits as crusades and inquisitions and pogroms and Auschwitzes large and small. And so we finally told the humane world, Michael, thank you, but no thanks. We gave back the washroom, the key to the washroom, and we said, we don't trust the world. We want our state that will always be Jewish. That is Zionism, but that is not Western democracy. Western democracy, whoever's the majority is the majority. Right, Michael? The Arabs will sit quietly. Every night they make love, not war. Have enough babies, become the majority. Michael, tell me, do they have the right to go to the Knesset and be the majority? No, yes or no? And don't pump her. Yes or no? Do they have the right to be a majority and vote Israel out of existence as a Jewish state? Yes or no? Don't shrink there. It's not your style. That's the question, yes or no. If you're a Zionist, of course the answer is no. If you're a Western Democrat, of course the answer is yes. He can't answer that. He knows I would ask him that. And what could he say? Yes, they have it, then he's an anti-Zionist. No, they don't have the right, then he's Meir Kahane, except Fada. Now. Of course there's a contradiction. Why do we play games? We play games with the Arab, and this Arab is right. You think we are children, he says? No, they're not children. They're clever, perceptive people. And they know that this argument, but we have raised your living standards. We raise your living standards. Only liberals think you can buy everything with money. Can't buy an Arab. But we gave you electricity. Thank you. Indoor toilets. Sit quietly. You live better than the Arabs in Iraq. He doesn't care whether he lives better than the Arabs in Iraq. He only knows that the Arabs there live in an Arab state and he lives in a Jewish state. And he doesn't want to live in a Jewish state, Michael, any more than you. How many Jews here? Sit quietly. How many Jews here would like living in Jerry Falwell's Christian state? Let's see their hands. Right, that's exactly how many Arabs enjoy living in a Jewish state. Michael. Ah, you went to Seattle. Now, how many Arabs think that that Chok HaShvut, the law of return, which is the basic law of Israel, is a good law, a nice law, a democratic law? The law says any Jew who wishes to can come to Israel. Any Jew, even you, Michael, someday. You think the Arabs think that that's a democratic law? If Ben-Gurion had not passed that law in 1950, and when I was in Knesset, I would have gone and presented it as a bill. Do you know what they would have called me? They would have called me what they call me. No, Michael, why don't you come out against the law of return? Hey, Michael. Hypocrisy. Thy name is Lerner. Now, how many Jews, how many Arabs think that the law in Israel that forbids the sale of state land to non-Jews is a racist law? Every one of them. Did I pass that law, Michael? I've done many, many bad things in my life, but I've never passed such a law. God, I mean, that is racist. How many Arabs, Michael, enjoy singing Hatikva, the national anthem? Michael, let's think together. Come, let us reason together. Picture the sea. Picture the sea. The Arab of Israel stands, shoulders back, chest out, pride coursing through his veins as he sings Hatikva. Think of the pride as he sings, Michael, think of as he sings the words, Nefesh Yehudi Hovia, the soul of a Jew yearns. It speaks to you. And when he concludes, Michael, when he concludes with the words, Hatikva bat shnot alpayim, the hope of 2,000 years, tears stream down his cheeks. As he says to himself, how my Zayda waited 2,000 years for the Jews to come home. Hatikva was our hope. The Arab nightmare. Contempt. We've got to compromise. The Arab doesn't want to compromise because he says Jaffa is as much Arab as is Hebron, and he's right. Jaffa is the same as Hebron. It is Jewish. Both are Jewish. If we have no right to Hebron, we have no right to Tel Aviv. If we have no right to Hebron, in which Jews lived 3,000 years ago, we have no right to a city that was built 90 years ago. Abraham never walked on Dizengoff Street, but he lived, died, and is buried in Hebron. Jacob never played golf at the Dan Hotel in Caesarea, but he lived in Shechem. Don't play games with the Arabs. They are people with national pride. There will not be peace in the land, and I say that with a heavy, heavy, heavy heart, because, Michael, I don't live in Oakland. I live in Israel, and my children serve in the army. And my grandchildren live there, and I want peace more than, Michael, more than you could ever, ever know. And I'm not a fool. Wanting peace and getting peace are two very, very different things. They don't want peace. They believe time is on their side because of Michael Lerners. They believe that the only way that they can win is not by Arab armies, but through Jewish fools who erode and slap us with guilt and more guilt. I have no guilt. I am sick and I don't suffer from Jewish AIDS. Guilt. I think it is better to live than to die. And I think it is better to be a winner than a loser. And what is this guilt? Every time Jews win, we feel guilty about winning. Guilty about winning. What would a Jew in Auschwitz have given for a Jewish tank and a Jewish plane and a Jewish victory? Someday when they build the Hall of Fame of inane statements, the following one by Meir shall